people are chickening out, not me. Look, a duck.
Do you think they still leak water when it rains?
I'm Andrew St Pierre White. Join me as I share my passion for building four-wheel drive trucks and then travelling to the remotest parts of the world. I am in Auckland, New Zealand, at the airport, waiting for Gwynn. But I've just been told I'm not allowed to film in the arrivals hall.
Well, you're not allowed to take photographs at all in the terminal.
So then why do you put these great big statues that are beckoning to be photographed? We're in Auckland.
Yes, we have. We've arrived.
So-
we
so-
arrived separately, but we are here.
We are here. So now, you don't know what vehicle I've organised.
No, I don't.
Okay. I want to see your reaction, actually. Okay.
I think I see it. In a car full of anything other than this. Is it that blue 110 there?
No, it's not.
Not. Aren't you lying to me?
Yes, indeed. It is a Land Rover Defender 110 with Land Rover's TDI 5-cylinder diesel engine.
Cool. Hey,
You like
it's a long time since we've driven in one of these.
Well, it's very different from what we're used to, which is going to make it very interesting and a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. It hasn't changed a bit. Oh, I love it. Do you think they still leak water when it rains through the windscreen and down into the footwells like out?
What do you think?
Probably straight out the dealership.
Every 110 leaks, and most actually leak on the driver's accelerator pedal. If they don't, that means they've tried to fix it. Remember, no central locking.
Familiar sound? Oh, some eskies.
It's a simple way of camping. So in other words, there's no freezer, because a freezer, well, we're in New Zealand. We don't really need a freezer. So they were telling me that they had fridges in some of their vehicles, and really the people were more interested in having the space than having a fridge, because New Zealand's a very small country. So every kind of day or second day, you can get some fresh meat and fresh stuff in here when you just put it in the cool boxes. So that's why they don't have traditional fridges. Plenty of space, easy to pack, creaky door. Before Gwynn and I head off to explore New Zealand, time to do some reminiscing with some old friends. Very close friends of mine. When I was at school in South Africa, the Bradfield family, they moved to New Zealand. Oh, must be at least 25 or so years ago. And I came to visit them once, 17 years ago. And some of you would have seen an old video of mine when I'm launching a yacht with a Range Rover. And there's a guy on board that is drinking Castle Lager.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh, I love that. Classic.
That chap is Charles, and he now owns this. How long is this boat? 32 years you've been in New Zealand. And the boat is 32 years old.
Yeah.
And you've owned it for? 10 years. Okay. So he's graduated from a little 21-foot homemade hull to this beauty. Hold on, I've got three waypoints.
Yes.
I've got the green buoy, I've got the stilts buoy,
Yes.
and okay.
Then there's a boat, and then there's a boat with sails.
Got it.
Aim for him.
Okay, so you want, okay, got it.
You just aim straight for him.
Right.
As it is.
Okay.
And of course he's moving, so aim where he was.
Yes,
Okay.
I've got a picture, yes. I'm taking a waypoint of a lump on the hill.
Yes.
It's been a long time since I've done this, and never done it on such a large boat. Late on Friday, 5:20. This is cool. Everybody else is now going to have lunch, and I'm not. So when was the last time you and I went on a boat together?
I'm afraid that was actually on Longfellow.
It was on Longfellow,
Yeah.
and we would go away for, I think the longest was 6 or 7 days.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Non-stop, 4 guys on a tiny boat.
Everything's fine except for the fact that there are 2 sleeping bags missing.
19 foot actually. It was
19. It was a 19-foot boat. What a great memory that was.
Which we had built effectively.
Yeah.
And so we had built the boat, made the mast, made all the internal fittings, made the keel, made the outboard engine, made the stove, which was a pressure primus.
We made this tank, we brazed all the fittings on, and here is a normal primus burner.
We made the searchlight because we travelled at night from a Coleman lamp and an old heater reflector which we put up front so that we could see where we were going as we sailed at night.
I remember running aground, and it was John.
I've forgotten that.
Okay, okay. So quick story.
I remember that.
Jonty and I are sailing. It's late at night. It's absolutely black. There's not a lot of wind, and we've done our 3 hours, and we hand it over to Charles and Mark, and I'm lying in the bunk, and I'm looking up at the stars, and I realise after 10 or 12 minutes the stars have not moved. Meanwhile, these guys are trimming the sails and like this. We were on a mud bank, and I was thinking, should I tell them?
For the mating call of the great grey wino.
And I'd always wanted to sail around the world. It had been a big deal thing for me. So I haven't quite managed that, but I've got enough sea miles under my belt of actual ocean sailing to have gone 1.5 times around the world. So I've actually almost achieved it, and I am sailing on the other side of the world. So that's
you've
around
done
the world.
Maybe
I wasn't specific enough with the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, hello. And we have managed to get through all of the rush hour traffic in Auckland, and we're heading south towards Hobbiton in the Land Rover that has been supplied to us by a company called Trekkers. They are Land Rover enthusiasts. Actually, enthusiast is probably a bit too weak a word. Enthusiasts that rent out Land Rovers to Land Rover enthusiasts for touring around New Zealand, and that's exactly what we are doing. We're going to explore both the North Island and the South Island of New Zealand, and our first stop will be the movie set for Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones? It's been my dream to come here for so long, and it's I've been to Harry Potter World in London. This is the reverse side of the same coin. So exciting. To me, the hero of Lord of the Rings was actually Samwise Gamgee. When Frodo could no longer carry the ring, Sam says, well, I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you. And this is his home.
This is the set in Star Wars where they shot President Snow saying to Gandalf, one does not simply walk onto the Death Star. Look, a duck. So we're in the town of Taronga, about 3 hours south of Auckland, and we've been spending the last week or so just with friends, because so many of our friends have immigrated to New Zealand from South Africa. But from now on, we're on the road together, just Gwynn and I, and we're going to be doing a mix of B&Bs, really touristy routes, and hopefully we'll get off-road and spend a couple of nights on the roof of the Land Rover as well. So welcome to our little trip. How do you like your eggs?
I think in this lake you've got one choice, and that's hard-boiled. So there's a legend about this lake, but it's quite interesting how it parallels to the Greek mythology of Hades and Persephone. Anyway, so this is Lake Kui Rau, and it used to be called Lake Tawakahu, and it was cool enough to bathe in. Anyway, there was this beautiful maiden, Maori legend said, who used to come and swim here, and it was swimmable. The water was swimmable, and her husband said, that lake is hers. So, hands off. But there was a Taniwa who lived here. Now, obviously, that's some kind of, I don't know the mythology well enough to tell you exactly what it is, but it was something evil. And he watched her, and eventually his lust got the better of him, and he grabbed her, and she was never seen again. So either she died of fright, so he must have been really frightening, or she was taken to his lair and never seen again. And the gods were so angry, they made the lake boil as punishment to try and drive him out of his lair. Similar to, right on the other side of the world, Persephone and Hades.
As you can see, there are not a lot of tourists around this time, and I feel quite lucky really, because without a lot of people you can really absorb everything, and maybe one day actually pin it down on a piece of paper to remember it forever. Now, New Zealand is full of tourists because it's so beautiful, but if you want to get away from the tourists and yet still see absolutely amazing places, you've got to do a lot of research, and you actually have to pay a little bit of money for those places, and this is one of them. More bubbling hot water to come. Rotorua bubbling baths had this sulphurous smell. This place smells distinctly of bacon.
Cave of Carbano. There he is. Where? There. What, behind the rabbit? It is the rabbit.
The only other geothermal cave in the world, other than this one, is in Italy. So this is truly, truly rare.
That rabbit's got a vicious streak a mile wide. It's a killer.
First thing I thought of when I came and I saw the cave, I just thought of the scene from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I couldn't leave it alone. It ruins my life. Every time I turn around, I translate what I'm seeing into Python. It has truly ruined my appreciation for the natural world.
A duck.
Lake Taupo, kind of right in the middle of the North Island, and arguably the most popular tourist attraction in all of the North Island. We've just taken a little lodge motel for the night, and what I'm hoping to do tomorrow or the next day is to actually do a four-wheel drive trail, get onto some rough tracks and actually camp in the wilderness somewhere. How easy is that to do in New Zealand? Actually quite easy. Alright, so we've just stopped off for a coffee. The weather forecast is rain for the next 24 hours stroke 48 hours all the way up north to where we're going. So and the thing is, with the camping equipment that is supplied with the setup, there is no protection from rain at all. So we'll just see how it goes. I mean, I really want to see the northern part of the country, so we're just going to push through the rain, and hopefully we'll get windows and gaps where we can do some filming. But if tonight it is bucketing down like this, we'll go and find another, not my first choice, but another B&B or something to at least have a reasonable amount of shelter and comfort.
Hot chocolate break for me, flat white for Andrew, while we contemplate the joys of camping in rainy weather. However, I did get us some of these. Maybe we can find something of interest to do in wet weather while camping. And the car.
Oh, the Defender. The Defender is like driving an English allotment garden shed. If you can imagine an old English garden shed, and you imagine there's an old piano in it that has been played, you know, it was 40 years ago, saw it in a nice living room actually sounding good, but now it's been dumped in the shed. That's what handling the Defender is like. It's like trying to get a decent sound out of that piano. It's enormous fun trying, but you'll never manage.
Of the windscreen wipers.
We're going camping. Finally, a piece of traffic going slower than us. Gwynn and I have a very interesting lifestyle. When we do these trips, I really like Gwynn with me. She just brings out the best in me. So, but she has to work. She has a full-time job. She is an author. She is an independent author. She works for herself. That doesn't mean to say that she can pick and choose when she works. And it's very important for us to be, let me put it this way, for me to enable her to come with me, I must give her at least minimum 2 full clean hours a day where she is uninterrupted, works without interruption, and with nothing more to think about than the books that she's writing. So now we've arrived here, and then she's managed to get an hour's work done today, but she needs another hour. So we could set up the tent here, $40 for camping here, set up the tent and be cold. So where is she going to get that extra hour done? So she could sit in the car and do it. She could. And then what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to sit outside and do something, do some filming and things like that. But at the same time, an extra $40 and we can take a cabin. Now, New Zealand, to me, certainly North Island, it doesn't seem to be the ideal place to go exploring and wild camping unless you go on specific 4x4 routes. There aren't a lot of them, but there are some. So we're gonna take a cabin. Less interesting, yes, but actually much more practical. So I'd prefer to camp, and I'd be happy to just sit a bit in the cold and go to bed early, but Gwynn's got to get her work done. So I've got to always think priority. That is as important as me filming with cameras. It's no less important, because if that doesn't happen, she cannot come on trips with me. So now you know a little bit about it. Here she comes now.
It's all my fault. And I must say, I've been so absent-minded today. I've been working all day with my computer on my lap, looking up every now and again to catch some gorgeous scenery. But I have had a story flowing in my head all day. And I do have an appointment with my editor on the 8th of May. And my book's not finished yet.
Did they give you a key?
Yes, it's all open and waiting for us.
Okay, well, I'll drive the car over. Or do you want to drive the car over? Actually, you should drive the car over.
This is my punishment.
No. I want you to drive the car over there. I have my reasons.
Some serious leg bumps. I should drive this car every day. Just think how thin and soft like I'll be.
Say that again, you'll...
Okay, where's the road?
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
I think I need physio after that clutch.
He drove 12 metres.
We're on the beach. It's hard, it's firm. Andrew's saying the tyres are harder than he would like, but there's no pump in the car, so we're just going to wing it.
The beach is quite, consistent in terms of it's not getting softer and then harder and softer and hard. So I'm not going to let the tyre pressures down because I don't have a pump in the vehicle, but I do have a fallback. If things get very soft, I can get them down. This is very exciting though. Great fun. So this beach goes on for it's about 80 kilometers or something, and I think that it's called 90-mile beach because I think the guy measured it was getting confused between kilometers and miles. Anyway, it's the same all the way up right to the top of New Zealand. So what we're going to do now is actually see if we can get to the northernmost point of New Zealand. That's what we're going to do now. Okay, ready to go. We are 20 kilometers from the northernmost point of New Zealand. Well, the northernmost accessible point to New Zealand. There is actually a bit of land that is further north, but there's no road leading there. And we're going to have a look around, take some pictures, and actually head straight back.
Rock behind you.
Trekker Adventure loaned us the vehicle. And if you are a Land Rover enthusiast and you want to take a Land Rover and you want to drive it around an unspeakably beautiful country, then call them right now. If you have never experienced a Defender before and would like to get a taste of it and want to find out what all the hype is about, and you want to do it in a stunningly beautiful country, then call Trekker right now. If you just want a car to drive around a stunningly beautiful country, well, phone them anyway and ask them what else they've got. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend a Defender, because let's face it, it's not the ideal. It's not the ideal car. It just isn't. You're driving around in a vintage machine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head further from here south. This is the northernmost tip of New Zealand. We're going to be heading to the southernmost tip of New Zealand, and of course that means going to the South Island. And it'll be on the South Island that we'll be returning to Trekker, and they'll be supplying us a different vehicle for the remainder of our trip. I know what we're getting. I've not seen it with my own eyes, but Gwynn doesn't know what we're getting. She has no idea what we've swapped the Defender for.
Well, it looks to me like the channel asked and you've delivered, eh?
If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.